So you'd like to learn how to give a business presentation. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 20 essential business presentation tips that will help you develop excellent presentation skills that will impress your bosses, your colleagues, and maybe even you. I'll also be providing you with a free downloadable detailed checklist with all of the tips, so you won't need to take notes. Just click on the link below this video to download this free checklist. You can do that now if you like. You don't even need to provide your email. You'll get instant free access to it, and you can then download it to your computer to look at again whenever you need to. And so that you don't miss out on any more of my videos and training resources, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Okay, the tips include improving your confidence to deliver your business presentation, also how to get your presentation understood, and also, all importantly, how to get your presentation remembered. Tip 1. You're the expert. First of all, yes, it's only natural to be scared of giving a talk either in front of a few colleagues or a massive conference hall, if you're not used to it. But you know, a little fear will actually help you to give a much better performance. However, too much fear will sap your confidence and you'll come across poorly to the audience. So the first tip is to tell yourself that the reason you've been asked to give the presentation is because you're the one who's the real expert in this, and your colleagues really do want to hear from you and learn from you. Think of a time when you were in the audience and really got a lot out of somebody's talk. Now, the tables are turned. You're on that stage, and your audience will benefit from hearing your information. Just feel good about that. You are an expert. Tip 2. Preparation boosts confidence. Do you think TV news readers are experts on the world news? Of course not. They're just reading the carefully written and prepared scripts. You are better than them in that you really are an expert, and as long as you prepare what you say and show in your presentation well in advance, you won't have anything to worry about. Tip 3. Clearly define your target audience. Are you talking to executives who really need to hear long-term financial or efficiency benefits, or to co-workers who need to know practical details of a new system or procedure you're talking about? You see, if you can laser target your audience, your job will be much easier. Determine what most of them will or should know already, so you don't need to include this. Tip 4. Structure is very important. If you have a set time for your talk, work out the time you'll give to each section, so you don't say in a 20-minute slot, give 15 minutes to the problems and issues and only 5 minutes to your solution. Allow time for audience questions as well. Tip 5. Don't drown your audience in detail. Keep what you say as simple as you can without patronizing your audience. This also goes for graphs and charts you may wish to show. If it's a new concept, product, or service you're going to talk about, you may have loads of detailed data or surveys that you feel it's important to share. Well, this is where a good handout sheet or an internet link comes in, where they can find out more after the presentation. Tip 6. Stay rooted to the spot. When you're on stage at the conference hall, it can be tempting to pace up and down, attempting to work the room, you know what I mean? However, unless you're very experienced, this can be very distracting to the audience. Yes, use your hands to reinforce points and move your eye contact around parts of the auditorium, but pretend your feet are rooted to the floor. Feel tall and confident when you're presenting. Tip 7. Don't read out a script word for word. You should only do this for legal statements to the press. Your presentation will come out far more naturally and more passionately if you simply write down bullet points or reminder words in front of you and then ad-lib on each point. This will need a few rehearsals, of course, but it's well worth doing it this way. If you read out a complete script word for word, it can come over as insincere, even if you're a trained actor. Tip 8. Record your rehearsals. If you're shy and don't want to practice, even in front of a good friend, you must record yourself using a video camera or your smartphone. Play it back and think you're a member of the target audience. Ask yourself, is your voice clear? Is it direct? Are you keeping a decent amount of eye contact with the camera? In other words, the audience. Are you speaking too fast or too slow? Are there any annoying or distracting visual or audio elements you could address? Just take a look at those. Tip 9. Use visual aids well. If you really have to use PowerPoint or Keynote, whatever, Reduce to an absolute minimum the amount of words people can see on the screen. Relevant pictures discussing what you're talking about will be much more powerful and will help your talk to be remembered better. The last thing you want is for the audience to be reading words on the screen, taking their attention away from what you are actually saying. As well as screen visuals, don't forget physical props as well you can hold or even pass around the audience. Again, as long as it won't distract them too much. Tip 10. Use case studies. Everyone loves real stories of real people, so if relevant, give examples of how your new idea has worked in tests or of issues in real life that has brought you along to develop whatever it is you'll help to get rid of these problems. Case studies bring presentations to life as they're easy for everyone to relate to. Tip 11. Use audience interaction. If you're not that experienced at giving talks, I suggest you tell the audience at the very beginning that you'll take questions at the end, or else you'll have people interrupting you throughout your presentation and maybe taking you off course. It is good, however, to include audience participation at certain points of your talk. Ask the audience, for example, to put their hands up for quick straw poll surveys, or, if appropriate, use gimmicks like who has an envelope under their seat. It's a technique where you plant them under certain seats, and inside is, for example, a card with customer feedback, negative or positive, on the subject you're talking about. You'd ask the persons or people with the envelopes to stand up and read what's on their card. The more the audience does, generally, the more an audience remembers. Tip 12. Takeoff and landing. Remember my airplane technique? The takeoff and landing are very important. The introduction must be crystal clear and needs to intrigue the audience to listen on. The ending must summarize and create a kind of call to action. The introduction and ending must be very well rehearsed, powerful, and thus you'll make the whole presentation memorable. Once you get the takeoff and landing sorted, the rehearsed flight will look after itself. Tip 13. Keep your powder dry. How many times have you gone to a presentation and found notes on your chair? So why bother listening to the presentation? All the intriguing secrets of your talk will be gone. Look, give people internet links and printouts of notes after the presentation, not during or before, and they will distract the audience from listening. Tip 14. Get to the venue early. It may be a room or hall where you've been before, but probably as a listener and not a speaker, so get behind the lectern when the venue's empty. Ask for the spotlights to be turned on, so you won't be surprised by extra lights in your eyes up there. Check the microphones and ask a colleague to sit at the back. Check they can hear you okay. Check and double check any slides or other visual aids. Tip 15. Prepare for questions. So many inexperienced speakers are so worried about questions they may be asked, it taints their whole presentation. Just ask yourself, what's the very, very worst question they may ask? Then, before the day of your talk, work out what would be your best reply to this worst case question. If you really get a stinker thrown at you on the day you hadn't thought of before, simply and calmly say, it's going to be a complicated reply, and you'll catch up with them afterwards, or use some other delaying tactics such as that. Tip 16. Communicate with, not at the audience. Although your talk will be mostly one way, try to be as personable as possible. Nobody in the audience wants to be talked to as if they're a naughty kid or a newbie on their first day at the organization. Just relax, smile if appropriate, and don't forget to keep eye contact with as many people in the room as possible, so people feel you're really talking to them individually and not as a whole group. Tip 17. Remember the power of the pause. It's easy when a little nervous to gabble through the whole speech, but the power of the pause in between sentences and sections is one to be used well and can really help to give some valuable seconds for the audience to soak in what you've said and be ready for the next point. Have the confidence that everyone is taking in what you're saying and are looking forward to hearing your whole presentation. Tip 18. Zone out of all other issues. A good 20 or 30 minutes before your talk, turn off your phone, don't answer emails, escape to a nearby park or coffee shop. Go through your notes one last time and rehearse in your head the all-important opening and closing sections. Tip 19. Enjoy and engage. If you try your very best to enjoy your time in the spotlight, you'll find that you'll automatically engage with the audience far more. Look at some expert TED Talk speakers, for example, on YouTube. Understand how body language and positive presentation skills combined with a clear structure and script make for a winning combination. Tip 20. If confidence fails you, try this. If at the 11th hour your legs turn to jelly and you simply can't face giving the talk, you feel like resigning rather than stand on stage, look, pretend to be an actor, playing the part of someone giving a speech. So in effect, it's actually not you on that stage, it's someone else. This may seem completely mad, but think back to the fun you had as a kid in school plays, pretending you were someone else. Even put on a different jacket or something if you like. The part you're playing is a character who's confident, knowledgeable, and loves delivering presentations.